Okay, we're 2 weeks out from playing our first game. We started out at the stadium. We worked some special teams, had a few individual periods with our older guys, had a 7-on-7, and then we put the ball down with emphasis on a young guys scrimmage, really still trying to figure out how ready some of those guys are to really help us the first game. So that was good. We did about 30 play scrimmage. Then we came back over here to the indoor and really started working our game prep, just to keep the integrity of what we're doing. And we had a good practice. Our guys got after it. Our coaches really strained our guys, taxed our guys. We got to be ready. We're 2 weeks away, and that urgency, what we challenged our players is to feel that urgency. We're 2 weeks away from playing a very good team, and it will be a dogfight, and our guys need to understand that. So, but overall, I thought it was good today to get out there on the game field. We wanted to really focus on our kickers and our punters and returners, especially with the jumbotron being on and all that. And then we got the majority of our work done here in the indoor.
Questions? What kind of progress have you seen with the returners?
I think they've done a good job. Being a returner, specifically a punt returner, is catching the football, just being consistent with that with people around you. And, I think we're in a good spot with that. And of course, our kickoff returners have done a solid job so far too. And we worked extremely hard on special teams in fall camp, probably a little bit more than we've done in the past.
Gus, you still have, with game prep having started, how many positions are still not decided?
Defensively, there's still some positions that Coach Muschamp, like you talked about the other day, who earns it that day. Offensively, we have probably a better idea as far as that goes. But the goal was when we get to Tuesday of next week to have 2 good weeks of game prep to get ready for them. So, we're close. We're not completely there, but that can be a good thing too. That there's still some good competition. And special teams is probably the group that is a little more wide open still at this point, which is natural, especially with the young guys that are going to end up helping us, especially on teams.
Those 2 offensive line positions, center and left guard, they're still
the same. Yeah, they're still getting equal reps. But like I said, that's one of those cases that's a good thing because it gives you depth. And going right now, 7 guys that we feel very good about playing. And you could possibly add an 8th or a 9th, and that's kind of what I talked about a couple of weeks ago. I feel like we have more depth, quality depth up front than what we've had in the past, at least since I've been at Auburn.
Coach, you said on Tuesday you were disappointed with how your guys practiced,
yeah,
especially on offense.
Mm-hmm.
How did they respond the rest of the week?
They responded well the next day, and that's what you always, anytime you challenge your team and challenge a group, you look as a coach how they respond to that, and our guys responded very well the next day. That's usually when you start figuring out who your leaders are and who can really find a way to get their teammates to that next level. So they responded well that next day.
Who did some of that leadership?
What's that?
Who did some of that leadership?
It's our main 3 or 4 guys that we count on.
I guess there isn't a starting punter yet.
Not yet. We had them, today was a big day for them. We actually did some punts versus some live up front. We also had some sky punts, and they're both competing. I think both of them are talented enough to do it, and hopefully in the next week we can make a call on that. But that's another area that it's a good thing that we feel like we have 2 guys that can get the job done.
Talk about Trey Matthews and how important he is, and I know he's missed a lot of practice time. What kind of importance is that to the team?
I think it's important, but at the same time, we got guys that when he wasn't practicing that have got quality reps, and you're always thinking depth. And I know the coaches feel good about the guy that they have out there. And Trey's gotten more healthy. He's actually doing more and more every day. But the guys who are getting reps are doing a very solid job.
Carry on and Rashad Kenyon, are they going full speed?
Yeah. Kenyon's been back for a while. Carry on is just about ready to go full speed.
How has Jeremy looked in the 2-minute situations? Because that was just a spot where Nick was obviously so good the last 2 years for you guys. You you haven't seen in a game yet what Jeremy can do in those spots. So how's he been handling it in practice?
You know, he's been handling it well. You know, we've had a lot of success in 2-minute situations the last 2 years. We worked very hard on it, and you know, Nick did do a great job along with the offense. The good thing is every time you do a 2-minute situation, you do it 2 groups. And so Jeremy has a lot of reps in practice, you know, and there was times last year that he practiced with the ones in a 2-minute situation too. But he's done well. You know, I really feel like a big part of that is just understanding the game and, you know, what to expect in the certain situations you put him in, and you know, how to protect the football and how to run the clock and everything that goes with that.
As you move to game prep, I'm interested to know just what scares you, what draws your attention about Louisville right now?
Well, you know, if you look on film, and they were very good on defense last year. Their defense coordinator is very, very solid, does a very good job. They attack you, and I think they were great on interceptions, turnovers. They were great on sacking the quarterback. They put a lot of pressure on offenses, and of course offensively, you know, they do a very good job, and they present a lot of challenges, you know, to defense with the different formations, you know, the different movements that they do, and so we're expecting a dogfight. I mean, we're playing a top 25 type team.
Gus, when Duke came back, you said he was at the bottom of that chart. You know, now that he's been back a little bit longer, where is he at now?
Yeah,
towards the middle.
Yeah, he's been working with the twos this week, and he's responded well, and had some good practice.
Do you anticipate he'll be a significant part of the plan for the game?
We'll see where it goes. You know, we'll see where it goes, and he's just like everybody else. And, you know, you prove it every day in practice, and we'll see as it gets closer to the game.
Gus, what have you seen out of Cam Petway? Obviously moved in bowl practices and had a good spring. What have you seen out of him in fall camp?
You know, I really think he's getting more comfortable at that position, and that is a very important position. As well, you know that we ask that guy to do a lot of different things. He's got to block. He's got to catch the football. He's got to block in space. He's got to protect. And he is, you know, the fact that he played tailback in high school, I really think has helped him. Chandler Cox is another guy that is very similar, and both those guys are young, and they can do a lot of different things.
Do you feel like you'll be better at that position than last year?
You know, we were really good at some things last year at that position. The key last year is we had experience, I mean game experience, and we could make adjustments. Those guys were very smart, did a good. These guys are young guys, you know, and they're still learning the offense, and so, you know, first game you always worry about adjustments, because first game's about adjustments. I mean, you look at film all last year, their tendencies, your tendencies, and then you get out there in the first quarter, and then you figure out what's going to happen. And the key to our first game to be successful, I believe, is to be able to adjust and take what they give you. And so, you know, we're going to have a bunch of young guys, and so, you know, young guys are going to have to grow up, and we're going to have to be able to adjust.
Have you thrown things at the young guys in these scrimmage-like situations where they have to adjust and
yeah,
make adjustments?
You know, early on it was just, you know, against our defense, which Will throws a lot, you know, at offenses anyway. So yeah, even in the spring and in the fall, there's nothing better than experience. And of course, you know, scrimmage type, practice type, that's one thing. But getting out there in the game, that's a different deal, because different people respond different ways. So, you know, that's kind of what I've said all along, that we're going to have some young, inexperienced guys out there, offense and defense, and the key is they're going to have to improve, they're going to have to get better. They're going to have some growing pains, we know that. But the key to this thing is getting better. We need to probably win some close games early and getting better each week.
Just to go back to the clutch element with Jeremy, because you mentioned the close games early and those things. Going back to 2013 and the Mississippi State game and that 2-minute drive with Nick, and how much confidence you got from that. I'm sure there's plenty of confidence in Jeremy's ability to throw, for sure, but what can you speak to that difference of once you see a player in that spot, deliver in that spot, just the difference, not only mainly from a coaching staff. I understand teammates get that confidence boost, but how much more confident does it make you as a coach once you see it happen in a game spot?
Yeah, well, I think just like I said, you know, you can put him in practice situation. There's nothing like a game, and then once him or anybody else does it in the game, then you know. But like I said, he's in a good spot, and he understands that. He's got to do it not only 2 minutes in the game, but he's got to be able to execute in all situations for us to have a chance to reach our goals.
Yes, what's your take on the running back competition, how that's going?
You know, it's really about the same. You know, you got 3 guys that you feel you can line up and run your whole offense. So, you know, hopefully we'll have a little bit more information before the first game, but right now I think we're in a good spot, at least going into the season. And it may be by committee early, we'll see.
That's
From
what
a
it comes
special team standpoint, have you kind of narrowed down your returners and punt and kick?
We're getting there. We'd like to see a couple of those guys, a couple more practices this week, and then we'll make some calls.
Yeah, I guess the center, I mean, we know kind of how important the chemistry is between the quarterback and the center there. What's the latest you would feel comfortable naming the starter there, so
The
Jerry
center?
at least knows for certain who he's going to be working with?
You know, you'd rather go earlier rather than later, but both of them are very solid. So.
Anything else? I guess, what are your top 3 first team receivers right now?
You know, we've got our older guys that have been there and done that. You got Marcus Davis. You know, Melvin Ray's had a solid time, and then of course Ricardo Lewis has had solid. Jason Smith's a guy that's coming on. You know, Tony Stevens is a guy that has really done a solid job for us. Stanton Truitt at times has done a good job. I mean, you know, we play 6 or 7 guys. Y'all seen that, and we'll continue to do that.
Is Jonathan Wallace still at wide receiver?
Jonathan Wallace is taking some snaps at quarterback, but he's still a wide receiver. But it's just we're going to make sure that we have a good plan. All the what ifs later in the season if you got injuries.
Would that be you need to get out of the game? You don't want to waste the red shirt here.
You know, I think all the above at this point. When we're not really ready to say everything, but he is a guy that has played in game situations, that does understand this offense. But he's been doing a great job at receiver too. So it's just kind of this time of year. Sometimes you got to be thinking, you know, in the season, the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? And so, you know, it's just kind of like that security blanket. But he's responded well. He's a senior. He can do both without it taken away, and so we'll start giving him some snaps.
Coach, this young man wants to ask one more question.
Yes,
That'll be it.
we heard earlier in the preseason that Daniel said that you guys had some discussion at some point that you were comfortable with him kicking it from right at 60 yards. I mean, has he shown you here in these practices that you're comfortable letting him kick 50 to 60 yards routinely?
We have worked on those long field goals. He has enough leg. You know, every game situation is different. If you really need to do it at the end of the game, obviously. So you know, every situation will be different. He's got a great leg.